Babe, I'm not staying, I just wanna play. In the party, he just wanna romp. Big boobs in the bus, they plump. She a baddie, she knows she a 10. She a baddie with her baddie friend.
Hey baddies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Let me not be rude. For those of you who are new, welcome to Styles by Baddies. I post new videos every week and they all revolve around beauty related content, along with me giving a voiceover telling you guys a story time to keep you entertained. So be sure to subscribe and join the family. Today I'll be sharing a creepy story time with y'all. Okay, so I know y'all have heard about the Ouija board before. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but growing up, it was that one thing everyone wanted to try but was too scared to actually do. I remember first hearing about it back in middle school when all the girls were obsessing over ghost stories and trying to summon spirits. At the time, I was like, there's no way this thing actually works. Spoiler alert, I was wrong. So fast forward to like freshman year of high school, one night my friends and I decided to have a sleepover. It was at my friend Naya's house, which was already a little creepy, but she lived a few blocks down from me, and that was kind of the good part. I feel like that's why my mom let me go to this day, because I live so close to her. But her house was super old with creaky floors, dim lighting, and this weird antique vibe that came from all the old furniture and decorations her family had. Her house definitely had that haunted vibe, but of course, we were all teenagers and thought it would just add to the fun. Little did we know, that night, the house's creepy energy would feel way too real. There were 4 of us there, me, Jada, Sarah, and Lauren. All these names are made up, of course, for the sake of the story. We were doing the usual sleepover stuff, eating junk food, watching scary movies, and gossiping about boys. Then, out of nowhere, Jada was like, hey, do you guys want to try something fun? She reached under her bed and pulled out an actual Ouija board. Now, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't feeling it. Like, sure, I'd heard people say it's just a game, but I'd also heard stories about how you can accidentally invite spirits into your house and never get rid of them. So I really wasn't trying to have that happen, but the other girls were all about it. Lauren was like, oh my God, I've always wanted to try this. And Sarah was already sitting cross-legged on the floor, ready to go. Jada set the board down in the middle of us and lit a couple of candles for vibes, acting like she was a professional medium or something. Of course, I didn't want to be the lame one chickening out or whatever, so I joined in with them. We all placed our fingers on the planchette and Jada started asking the questions. She asked, is there anyone here with us? At first, nothing happened. I was ready to call it a night and go back to eating chips, but then the planchette started to move. Slowly, like so slow I thought one of the girls was. The planchette shot to no. I was kind of relieved when it said that, but then it spelled out WATCH. At this point, I was ready to flip the board over and call it a night, for real this time. But before I could even say anything, we heard this loud knock. Like, not a knock on the door. No, this was coming from inside the house. We all jumped and Jada yelled, did you guys hear that? Lauren looked like she was about to cry and Sarah just shook her head saying, nope, 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 I'm out. Jada tried to calm us down, saying it was probably just her dog. Like, come on now, let's not be delusional. But then we heard the knock again, 3 times this time, loud and intentional. We were all freaked out now, and I told Jada we need to stop, like, right now. But she didn't listen, which was really scaring me because it felt like she was taking this way too seriously. Like, she actually wanted to see how far it could go. Her eyes were locked on the board, and she had this weird, determined look on her face, almost like she was challenging whatever we'd quote-unquote summoned to show itself or do something crazy. I kept saying, Jada, I'm serious, like, stop. But she just brushed me off like I was overreacting. The more she ignored me, the more the whole situation started to feel wrong. Like we weren't in control anymore, and that freaked me out even more. She asked one last question. Anna, are you here with us? The candles flickered, and I swear I am not making this up. The planchette flew across the board and off the table. No one was touching it. It shot straight off the table and smacked into the wall. We all screamed. But before anyone could even move, Sarah suddenly clutched her wrist and cried out, ow, something's burning me. So we all froze as she held up her arm, and I swear to you, there was this red mark wrapping around her wrist like someone had grabbed her, except no one was near her. I was thinking, maybe the candle accidentally burnt her, but the mark didn't look like a burn. It was too defined, almost like a handprint, and the way it wrapped perfectly around her wrist, it just didn't make sense. So obviously Sarah was shaking, there was tears in her eyes, and she kept shaking her hand, saying, "It feels hot, it feels hot." The rest of us are exchanging glances. None of us had been anywhere near her, so we were all genuinely confused, and the candles were all at least a foot away. It was like something we couldn't see had grabbed her, and the thought sent a chill down my spine, honestly. This was no longer a fun game. Whatever we'd messed with felt very real and very angry. At that point, Jada started panicking, blowing out the candles and yelling, "We need to stop, we need to end it." Girl, we've all been trying to tell you to end it this whole time. Now that something actually happens, you wanna end it. But the thing is, the board wouldn't move. The planchette was gone and the board just sat there it was daring us to try again. And then from somewhere upstairs, we heard a loud dragging sound, like furniture scraping against the floor. That's when I stood up and said, "I'm done. I'm not staying here another second." But before I could even grab my phone to call my mom, the hallway lights started flickering. I grabbed my phone, fumbling to unlock it. My hands were shaking so badly. It took me at least a couple tries just to get to the call screen. I dialed my mom's number, but the phone wouldn't connect. It just kept saying "call failed." I tried again and the same thing happened, so I checked my Wi-Fi, but that was connected. I even tried switching to my cellular data, but nothing. It was like my phone had decided to stop working at the worst possible moment, y'all. That's when I remember something. My mom had set up a location tracker on my phone a few months prior, and even though I thought it was annoying at the time, I was praying it would save me at that moment. So the app had this notify contact option where, I could send an alert directly to her. It wasn't like a text. It would just send a loud notification to her phone with my exact GPS location. So I quickly tapped on her name under my shared contacts and hit the emergency notify button. The message was automatic. "This contact has triggered an emergency alert. Tap here to see their location." I didn't know if it would work or not since my phone had been acting up, of course, but I hit send anyway and just prayed it would go through. For a few moments, nothing happened. I kept refreshing the app, my heart pounding as the lights were still flickering around me. But then, through all the chaos, I heard the sound of the doorbell. My mom had gotten the alert and showed up at Jada's house, her phone in her hand, her face full of concern. She ran in like she already knew something was wrong and asked, "What's going on? Why did you send an emergency alert?" I grabbed her arm, and low-key looking back is actually not funny, but low-key funny because I practically pulled her out the door, y'all. But I didn't care about explaining everything in that moment. I just needed to get out of that house. I said, "Mom, I'll explain later, but we have to leave right now." I could still hear Sarah and Jada behind me, their voices panicked, but I wasn't sticking around to find out what else was about to happen. As we're walking back to my house, explaining everything to my mom, she's like, "That's what you get for messing with things you don't understand." And honestly, she wasn't wrong. I felt really stupid for even touching that board in the first place. A couple of days later, Jada told me that weird stuff kept happening in her house after that night, like doors slamming on their own, what else, like footsteps in the hallway, and even her dog barking at nothing. She ended up getting rid of the board, but honestly, I don't think that solved the problem because she was really messed up after. But anyways, that's it for this story time. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a creepy experience with the Ouija board. Still hope I'm pronouncing that right. But don't forget to comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you baddies in my next video. Bye!
day I'm not staying, I just wanna play. In the party, he just wanna romp. Big boobs in the bus, they plump. She a baddie, she knows she a 10. She a baddie with her.